Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John and Jenna with Flippin' Ain't Easy, and my apologies for being a few seconds late. Just, you know me, we're always scrambling before launch time. So hopefully your week has been pretty good. Sales wise, I can confirm to you that they've been kind of good here and there, and really today is lacking, but again, one day doesn't make your week, your month, that type of thing. I'm getting consistent deposits every week with eBay that are relatively in the same ballpark. So that's really all I can ask for. And we don't do this for the number of listings that we do. We do it for money. We don't do it for any other reason. This is how we make our living on eBay. So wanted to talk about this particular subject, and I received an email from eBay Main Street a couple weeks back, and I've been meaning to kind of talk about this, but I just haven't done it. Other things have come up, and I've talked about other things. But this is a very, very big topic for a lot of people, and it's the $600 threshold for the 1099K reporting. So if you sell anything that is over, and this is not just one item, if you sell a cumulative over throughout the year over $600 worth of merchandise, then you're going to expect a 1099K form from eBay and or any other site for that matter that you're selling on. And this was I forgot the actual name of the act. I apologize. I'll probably get to that here in the article I'm about to read. But it is something that was passed a couple years ago. It was supposed to be put into place for the 2022 tax reporting year, and it just was kicked. I think like the end of December. It was basically the can was kicked down the road to 2023, sort of as a warning. And I know a lot of it was these sites weren't really ready for it, and they were already talking to Congress to try to get them to change this law. And I'm going to go over this article here, but it affects each and every one of you that sell on eBay. And, I don't really have a stance on this as far as whether I think it's a good thing or not, because it doesn't affect me. I am paying my taxes. eBay is, if you make over $100,000 a year on eBay or any platform, you're definitely going to get a 1099K regardless of what's going on. So I report my stuff because I want to be on the up and up. I don't want to have any issues with the IRS, any reason for them to, penalize me. So I think it's kind of very important. I'm just kind of weird that way. I'm just really careful when it comes to money, and I don't want any problems at all. I'm sure many of you feel the same. But wanted to go over to this article. Now, this is on the eBay Main Street website. So if you're not familiar with it, it's good to maybe go and maybe bookmark it. Want to go here right now if I can figure this thing out here. Hold on. Here we go.
I need to go fix the.
Here is the article, and it's from eBay Main Street. U.S. 1099K federal tax reporting burdens on casual sellers. Okay, so you can actually go in here and contact Congress. It's kind of what eBay wants you to do if you're so inclined. It says eBay believes millions of American casually selling things online shouldn't receive unnecessary, invasive, and confusing tax forms for small-time transactions. There's a little video you could watch that basically is just an interview of a couple small-time sellers on eBay. And then it says, do you occasionally sell things from your garage or closet on eBay? Starting in 2022, the IRS wants to put these transactions under a microscope. Previously, only major sellers competing hundreds of transactions totaling tens of thousands of dollars would have their transactions automatically reported. Now, even a single sale over $600, the new reporting threshold could land you with a burdensome 1099K tax form, and the change does not take into account the millions of individuals selling used or pre-owned items where there is no taxable event. The change is part of the provision added to Section 9674 of the American Rescue Plan. There you go, the American Rescue Plan. eBay believes that dropping the minimum threshold to $600 for issuing 1099K will cause confusion over reporting of non-taxable income and privacy concerns for millions of Americans already struggling as a result of the pandemic. And then I'm not going to go into what Scott T says here, but says Congress should protect consumers and increase the reporting threshold for platforms enabling consumer sales of goods in the budget reconciliation package. And you can learn more about it. And there's some affiliated articles with that. So I just thought that was, a little interesting topic to discuss. And believe it or not, I just got a sale on Mercari. Can you believe it? It is certainly an interesting topic to discuss because it tells us and it tells me a lot about eBay's intentions. And so this live stream pretty much is not about, taking a stance whether I agree with the 1099K $600 rule or not. I think that if you just want my honest opinion, and some don't, but I'll give it to you anyway, that if you're selling as a business, this should be a no-brainer. You should be reporting your taxes. It doesn't matter how much you're making. If you're selling a stereo for Aunt Thelma who isn't tech savvy and she asks you to help her out, and you sell this $1,000 stereo system just because she needs the money, times are hard, you sell it on her behalf, well, guess what? You're going to have that 1099K, and you're going to have some explaining to do on your taxes. Now, a lot of people are up in arms about this, and I can understand why. If you're selling stuff that you've never bought for resale, okay, things are a little different because the intent is not there. But if you're selling something, let's say a stereo, and you paid, say, $800 retail for it, and you sell it 5 years down the road for $500. Well, guess what? That's not taxable because you made zero profit off of that. Okay. So there's a lot of people that were up in arms like, oh, if I want to sell a bunch of things that I have lying around the house, well, chances are you're not going to sell it for what you bought it for retail. So those items are going to be exempt from that tax anyway. So the spirit is really to go after the folks that are reselling stuff for profit. And if you're reselling stuff for profit and you're not making a profit, well, you're not doing a very good job on that. But the problem is these people are now going to be burdened with having extra forms and taxes and things, and they're going to have to prove things that maybe they weren't ready to, prove, like not having a receipt. Aunt Thelma didn't have a receipt. We don't have any idea. That's Mercari. Didn't have any idea, what she paid for it. Maybe she forgot what it cost. So these are all things that people are going to have to deal with now that they never had to deal with before. Now, what eBay's stance is, and the bigger part of this picture, and before I continue, let me just acknowledge Roman before this thing falls off, because I always do. Thank you, Roman, for the super chat. It says Josh Galt will soon take position as professor of eBay at Harvard University. eBay will require everyone to take his course to sell stuff on eBay.
There he is.
But that wouldn't be a bad thing. Josh, he's pretty smart, knows a lot about what he's doing. So I think the underlying message that I'm taking from this, and we can get into whether or not you guys think it's something that should be implemented or not, but the question is, what does eBay want to do with the small sellers? Are they trying to push out small sellers? And I think the theory, and heck, I was even kind of caught up in the thought that eBay has been trying to get rid of the smaller seller. But if they're going to take their resources and they're going to fight this type of legislation, it tells me that they're trying to preserve the smaller sellers because they know that's where their bread and butter is. Now, if we're dealing with resellers that are, we're talking, let me do this. You don't know how to do it. She's turning lights on and stuff. She's trying to turn the fan on. Sorry, guys. Should have had this ready before we started. Would eBay fight this hard for resellers if they're trying to get rid of us? And I don't know if I necessarily fall into the category of smaller seller. I don't think so. But there's a lot of people that are watching this that do this on a part-time basis to supplement income and things of that nature. And the answer, I think, is no. I think what they might, and I was thinking about this earlier, what eBay's trying to do is get rid of the crappy sellers, the sellers who really don't put forth as good of an effort as they can, or they should. And if they're not, they shouldn't be on the site. And that is getting back to people in a timely manner, this common customer service, people that ship their items in a cereal box or a diaper box full of feces on the inside bubble wrap, which I received one time. We're talking people who don't get back to you in a timely manner. You have a valid question about an item, but you just can't get an answer because for whatever the reason, the buyer is just too occupied with something else to even see your question. And then you take a chance, buy the item, and it's not what you thought it was, and it causes problems. It's a bad buying experience. So I think that's what eBay's trying to do. They're trying to get rid of those type of sellers, and they're trying to preserve the everyday mom and pop sellers that are just trying to help Aunt Thelma out, sell some stuff, and now they're burdened with the tax bill. So if you want to, and of course, eBay doesn't put me up to this, but I think the way it's written, I think the way it's set up is really difficult on people. I would say if you want to support them getting rid of this legislation, go in and sign. Go to the eBay Main Street page, and there's a link down below. Go there, click on the link, and sign the petition because, I'm going to keep doing the right thing. I hope that you as a reseller who are making profits on your items should be doing the right thing. But maybe there's got to be a different way. And I don't know what the answer is to that. But the small people who are just trying to, they're talking about someone trying to sell a concert ticket. They can't go to a concert. The only real way to get, at least most of your money back, if not, make a couple bucks, is to put those tickets up on eBay, right? Or any site for that matter. And now they have to worry about getting hit with a tax bill. I don't know. It just seems a little extreme, but want to know what your thoughts are down below. So not feeling really great today. Woke up not feeling well, but this is what I call, this is an example of an uncomfortable day for me. It's one of those things where I could have just kept my butt in bed, and I guess my body would have thanked me for it, but that's not who I am. I'm going to keep pushing forward. And it's been kind of a uncomfortable day, but it's kind of what I'm talking about. There's some people who wouldn't work through not feeling well, and I think that's what separates the people that mindset from those who maybe succeed and versus don't. So, and any of you guys thinking that that's me being narcissistic by saying that, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But we'll move on from that. That irritated Jenna. But let's go ahead and see what we have here. We have AC/DC for life. I looked 90% of my used items down. It looks like an L. Sorry. I took 90% of my used items down and sold at the flea market. Now that said flea market. Flea market. Tired of the games not paying taxes again on used stuff I already paid taxes on. But here's the thing. When you bought that stuff and you're selling it at the flea market, I'm sure you bought it for more than what you're selling it for. And that's the key. If your cost of goods are more than what you're earning, then there's no profit to be reported. And that's just it. When you pay taxes, and I'm not a CPA, by the way, but I can tell you this much. When you're paying taxes on sales, it's only off the profit, not off the total sale price. So did I make money off of this? And the answer is yes, you need to be paying taxes on it. We got Bearded Picker says, can't believe you gave into peer pressure from Josh to not make a spectacular face for your thumbnail. Well, on this one, I'm going to keep doing the face thing on, that's just kind of what I do.
Well, I just want to know if I'm on this video as well, why am I not on there?
Well, you have your own thumbnail for this when you go solo. Yes, you do.
Oh, no.
But, it's just a matter of, I guess I should put Jenna's face on the thumbnail. I have her own little thumbnail for herself when she went solo that one time.
I will provide you with the photo.
I got one.
No.
So anyway, without going back and forth on that, what do we got?
So just so you know, there was a bot in here that was kicking, pausing, timing people out. I hopefully caught it in time. And so we'll talk about it
later. Is it Nightbot?
Yes.
Oh,
it's gone now.
Sorry.
That's
gone. My fault.
No more will it be here.
What was it? Who was it kicking out?
Lisa.
Why?
Because she put some emojis.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And it gave her a really snarky remark under her thing.
I'm sorry, guys. That was not my intention. I went on, saw some larger channels that I watch that have this thing called the Nightbot, and I did some research on it, and it'll pop up and give little reminders and things like that. But I didn't think it was going to kick people out.
Okay, it's still here.
Is it still there?
But it's not allowed to do. It's not. It can talk.
Okay.
Apparently, but it's not allowed to.
I'll mess with it after the show. We won't see it again. It was more of an experiment that I was messing with last night, and I totally forgot until she brought it up.
He said the bot is very angry.
Give you guys in the chat something to have to navigate through. But yeah, as far as the thumbnail is concerned, I think a lot of people they think it's clicky, and maybe you're right, but again, we make these videos, and I'm sure, Scott, you can agree. We make these videos for people to watch them. I want people to watch my video. Now, I don't think I'll go as far as putting a weird title that doesn't match the content on the the video. But at the end of the day, if I have something that's upsetting, I might show an upsetting face. So yeah, it is what it is on that. Jovial Juggler says, "What's up, FAE fam?" And thank you for your email. Rhonda sent a message, just the support. We had someone that voiced kind of a nastiness in Josh's live today towards me, and it's fine. Everyone's allowed to have their opinion. I block people on this live stream or from the channel for being not showing a different opinion, but those who are rude. And if you come off as we're adults here. We're not on the playground anymore. We're not gonna take shots at each other. That's not how you get through life anymore. I mean, I'm too old. I'm almost 50 years old. Can't believe I'm saying that. And guess what? I'm not here to bring anyone down. I'm here to just be honest. And unfortunately, my honesty, I guess, brings people down, but it's not meant to, even the video I made yesterday, it wasn't meant to, make someone feel bad. It just meant to say, here's what a lot of people are doing and some channels are doing. And it's causing a lot of people to quit. And I think that was the whole point of making that video. Is the worst thing you can do is to watch me, watch anyone on YouTube and decide, you know what, I can't do this. That's bad. I don't want anyone to watch any of my videos and think, this, I just can't make it work. And maybe reselling is not cut out for you. And that's the reality for a lot of people, but I don't want you to think it's not possible. And I see too many messages, and I think that it's because you get a lot of negativity, and it's already a negative situation if you're not making money. And the last thing you want to do is tune in for advice, and almost every video is negative. And I guess I contribute to that on, if I'm being honest, because there's negative things that I'm talking about.
Yeah, this job, this industry, the reselling community is not always positive. We all are learning. We are all the beta testers for eBay. We are all trying to figure it out. And when you're taking piece by piece by piece from different creators, or you're just trying to figure it out on your own, there's going to be some negativity. I would love it to be, all sunshine and rainbows every day, but it's not. And eBay is the fault of that because they don't communicate.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I just got to tell you, people are going to have different opinions, to the point where if you don't agree with what they're saying, if you don't change your mind because they put something in the comments that somehow, you're not flexible. I've made many changes in my business because of comments that many of you have suggested that went against everything I was doing. Gave a lot of it a try, gave things a try I would never have done. And I attribute a lot of that feedback and suggestions to my success today. So
we have learned so much from all of you, and it's only this community. I say this all the time, but it's the truth. we learn from you as much as you might learn from us,
Right.
if not more sometimes, between the comments on the videos, the emails that we receive, the socialization that we have, barely any of it, but we do. And with all of that, we've learned this business of what to do, what not to do, when to pivot, when not to pivot. It's a whole ever-changing cycle of eBay, and it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Next year we're going to be sitting here ranting and raving about something else, and it's just the reality of what we live in and the type of career that we have chosen. And I'm not saying that I hate it, but we enjoy working from home and being our own boss and having the schedules that we want. But we also treat this as a business. It is a everyday cutthroat. Got to get it up. Got to get it listed. Got to get it photographed, tested, whatever. We learn these things by failing every day. You fail, you win some. You win some, you lose some every day. And there's going to be haters in there that we're not everybody's cup of tea.
No.
And that's okay with me. There are many, many, many YouTubers out there that I used to watch, but because I now see who they really are, I don't. And therefore, I didn't go and leave a nasty comment or call somebody any type of names. I just left.
Oh, that's all fine. I don't mind that anymore. A year or two ago, it really affected me more. If I'm being real, yeah, nasty comments, they do.
Just
they make you wonder. Is there something that I said or did or to make someone, this one person out of dozens or hundreds or whatever, to think this way? But it is what it is. I don't want to spend the entire live on this subject, but
right.
I do want you guys to think of this as it pertains to eBay. And you made a mention of eBay problems, right? Go back to some of the eBay community forums from many, many years ago.
Those
many years ago. Well, no, just go back many, many years ago, and you're going to find that there's people complaining about all kinds of stuff 10 years ago as it relates to eBay. So, to your point, in a year from now, we're going to be talking about something else that's a problem. So, these are forums that give you a place to vent your thoughts.
We just keep pushing, guys. It's all this life is.
You vent your thoughts here. You get back to work. You don't have to worry about, thinking about that.
I think it was just the choice of words that or names that he called you that really got under my skin.
But it is what it is. Let's move on. Lenny K is in the house. Says, hello all. No superstitions today. Blackout or knock on wood. Yes, happy Friday the 13th,
Happy Friday
guys.
the 13th. Today is our daughter's 30th birthday.
Yes, and I'm going to be
happy
a bad
birthday,
dad.
Kelly.
Yes, happy birthday.
You are a bad dad.
I am a bad dad.
He always waits till the end of the day.
Well, because everyone's settled in. She's busy with family and take care of kids.
Well, she's got the kids.
Yeah,
she's
so wait till everyone's
3
settled in.
daughters, and they're all over the place.
Yeah, but same thing with my son last week.
Happy birthday, Kel. We love you.
Mike says, hi, John and Jenna and fellow resellers. Hope everyone is doing well. After a very slow week, my sales bounced back with 6 being sold today. Hope the trend keeps up through the weekend. And he also says, Scott, he's going legit with the thumbs now. He's partnering with Josh. No, I'm not changing a thing. You know what? I'm going to be true to who I am and what I do. And I'm not going to succumb to, people that maybe wake up in the morning, don't have their coffee, see my thumbnail and it ruins their day. I don't know why that would ruin someone's day, but I do want to say this, Mike. I hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Yes.
And
you had me worried for a moment.
Yeah, I just hope you're feeling better. And Mike was going to be traveling out to Vegas for the Boss Reseller Remix. And that's one, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's one reason I was going to go there and pay the money to do this. Jenna was going to go as well. But, if Mike's not going to be there, then you're going to have a chance to network with other people. I was already on the fence anyway, because the time away, I'd rather spend listing and getting stuff sold than to maybe listen to stuff I feel like I probably already know a lot of. And I wouldn't maybe gain enough experience to make the loss of revenue and listings and time.
And again, it's not because we think we know it all, because we don't.
I don't.
It's just when you're paying that much for a ticket for something that you're supposed to go learn, you kind of just, have to weigh the pros and cons of what the information is that's going to be out there.
Right. So, and it to me, it's an expense. You're talking, I think
it's 300 and
something dollars a piece.
Yeah.
And it's what I did was, and it should be here. And if it gets here while we're still live, I'll open it for you.
Scott, guess what I got?
Is it here?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's on the way. But Scott, guess what I'm getting?
Well, Scott knows.
Oh, how does Scott know?
Because I sent him a text. Because I told him I'm going to be picking his ear, picking his brain. That is, picking his ear, picking his brain to try to figure out how to make this thing work. Sorry, I'm not into it today, guys. But so if it comes while we're live, I'll crack it open because I'm kind of leery if this is a used one. So this thing might come in a diaper box.
The behavior from the seller makes me leery.
Yeah, I sent an offer to this guy and he accepted it, and I think it was $325 plus shipping. And so he went to ship it, and I guess he went to ship it fast. He's one of those sellers that didn't want to lose the sale. I started laughing about it because I paid for this thing at 2 a.m. Okay. And this person not only answered my email, and I wasn't really expecting the answer until the morning. They answered it about the item, but they sent me the offer because I sent them that offer. They declined it. And I said, well, if you change your mind, let me know. This is my price. And he came back and he offered that to me. As soon as I paid for it, he ran the label. And I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
So this person was like 16 feedback. And they said, well, if I'd have known you're in Vegas, I wouldn't have ran this label. And I said, well, that's a mistake. If you ever get yourself in that position where you are selling an item and it's someone to someone locally and you don't have that listing set up for local pickup, well, what's going to happen is you're going to lose your seller protection if you go and meet that person and to avoid buying a label, because you're not going to have the tracking to show if that person knows the rules and opens up an item not received. So, so hopefully we see, this sounds like a relatively new seller, so we'll see how it turns out.
Okay, that's her comment. That's what they blocked.
What?
Lisa Durr.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah, Lisa.
That's
I'm so
horrible.
sorry.
That's a horrible, mean
comment. That was
comment.
terrible. I really like those emojis.
I think I know what it is. It's the Canadian symbol that she put in there.
Now it said something about you're going wild with the emojis or something. I was like, what in the? I was not happy.
Yeah, sorry guys. That's your twist for this live stream is the night bot. I will make sure that thing
is no longer ever allowed.
We'll turn it off for now. The curator of thrift says, hello everybody, thanks for being here. And Jovial says, happy National Train Your Brain Day. Well,
Train your brain.
Well, hell, I need a lot of that today because I'm feeling sluggish today. Fisher Flip says, hello, and hit that like all. Yes, hit the like button.
Sale within 24 hours.
And here's example. Fisher Flips, he constantly comments in the videos, and it isn't one of those things where here it is, it's an echo chamber where it's always what I'm thinking. There's times, like I think the video I put out this yesterday, he commented, and I don't know if we necessarily agree, but I respect his opinion and where he's coming from. Okay. And, he doesn't lash out. He doesn't do it in a way that's disrespectful. And I appreciate that. Larry Todd says, howdy, Larry Todd here. Thanks for being here, Larry Todd. Hope you're feeling better.
Best hand model on YouTube.
Yep. Maya says, hey, everyone. Anyone who doesn't know, Mercari is doing their all-star campaign. So if you need to cross-list, you can get a $20 coupon just for listing 30 items.
Oh.
Well, good looking out on that, Maya. Plus, every time they've done the campaign in the past, my sales spike because people are using the coupons. Now, this is an example, I think, of what eBay should be doing. eBay should be doing something like this to promote sellers selling on their platform. How about, if you list 200 items in the next 60 days, we'll give you a $50 coupon that you can use on the site. Something like that. Because what's going to happen is if you give a $50 coupon to someone, chances are they're going to be spending more than that $50 on the platform. Okay. And it just makes sense. But, instead it's just craziness that it almost feels like, and this is why I think we felt this way, is that they don't care about the smaller sellers. But then you get deals like this with the 1099K, and it confirms to me that, the smaller seller is going to be part of the future on eBay. And at least that's what I take from it. I don't know what you guys think of that, but that's the overall message to me that I took, which is why I made that as the topic for today. We have Josh. What's up, everyone? Smash that like button. Thanks for being here, Josh. And Daniel Lesage from Baton Rouge says, happy Friday the 13th, everyone. And we have Biff Boffo says, my last 3 months have been pretty similar for sales. So this is what it is, and we go from here. Yep. And just like Fisher Flips, Biff is always, I don't know if he's playing devil's advocate. I'm trying to figure out the last time we even agreed. But you know what? Here's the thing. He does it in a respectful way. Yes. And doesn't attack. And I appreciate that a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's times that I look back and Biff is right. So kudos to you. You heard
that, Biff. Biff is right.
Bearded Picker says, Josh, your pressure doesn't work on us, just John. He has to earn the like button tonight. Well, if you want that sale, you better hit the like button. That extra bonus sale within the 24 hours.
That like.
And here's our friend, the Nightbot.
Yes, you're on the naughty list.
Stop naughty list. Emotes. Wow, that's crazy. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, you need to take that completely off. I don't know how you did it.
Well, you know what? We're getting used to AI, and
we have plenty of mods in here that can take care of the junk. We don't need a night bot. We don't need a day bot. We don't need anything bot.
That's awesome. It's awesome in a different way. It's not awesome.
It's not awesome.
It's not awesome that it scolded you, Lisa, but it's just awesome that it's a little bit spunkier than I thought it was going to be. Silver Hair Stacker, Josh, I'm taking off the thumb if this show sucks. Mid-State 515. Greetings from the 515. Now 515. That's 515. You're going to make me look it up. 515 area code. What is it? Anybody know? That is Iowa. No wonder why you didn't say anything. You just put 515. No, just kidding. Silver Hair Stacker. Private pick, bought $450 worth of gold jewelry today for $15. I am good.
Wow. Now, I want a private pick like that.
Is it plated? It can't be real gold. But nonetheless, even if it's costume jewelry, I'm sure it has some value. Not sure how to sell costume jewelry, but
we're not the greatest at jewelry.
Yeah, I know. We picked up, what was that? The Brighton stuff, and we sold it. We picked it up for like $2 a piece at a yard sale and sold it for like $20-25 a piece.
Mid-State 515 said, "Ouch."
People don't travel to Iowa to go on vacation. They do. To go on vacation?
People who have family there go to visit.
Okay, but it's just, I'm just joking with you, by the way. No hate on Iowa. I'm sure there's a lot of good people watching this channel right now from Iowa.
He said Iowa is a great state to fly over.
Duncan VR says, hello, you two. I'm packing a lot of eBay sales and going for burger and fries for lunch later, 9 a.m. in Sydney. Going to be a warm day.
Ooh.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in from down under.
It's nice and gloomy here.
E11 says, catching live streams on time ain't easy. It ain't. And being on time when you're the host ain't easy, unfortunately. Biff Boffo says, bring on the 1099s. Any full-time seller should be glad for this. Look, here's the thing. For me, it's easy. I know that eBay is going to be reporting the sales, and I know that that's the amount that I'm going to report on the eBay side of things. And I just try to keep it simple for myself, and I'm glad they're sending me that document. But of course, I do my own taxes. If you have a CPA, of course, an accountant, you can have them just compile all that data. But I don't mind crunching the numbers and getting into it and I've never had an issue knock on particle board yet. So all the better. But even if you're selling and you don't even make the $600 threshold, but your intent is to make a profit and you have made a profit, you should be reporting that. Rain Gallardo says, happy Friday the 13th, everyone. Thanks for being here, Rain. Kimberly Sweet says, what size poly bag is most used? Do you ship shoes and clothes in them? What else do you ship in them and how? Well, I could tell you
this is a big debate between the two of us when it comes down to Posh.
Well, okay. As far as to answer your question, I would say the 9x13 is probably about right.
9x13 is my main poly bag I use for both shoes and clothes. And yes, I will put them in poly bags. John has an issue.
She never mentioned Posh though, ever.
I know.
Okay.
But I'm talking about clothes. Like hard goods, yes, you could put them in there. I mean, if they come in a box, or we just pad the heck out of them with bubble wrap. And but clothes, I put them in there, but he doesn't like it because he thinks that the customer is going to take a pair of knives and cut it. Well,
they're going to use one knife. They won't take a
knife to cut it open. In my opinion, if you know the item is coming and you put a pair of scissors into the package, that was your fault. I say this only because someone has scolded me already, a customer that we shipped one of those things in, and they received it and they were irritated because they had to open it with a knife or scissors or whatever. That's on them.
But they were irritated. I just, here's the thing. It's all about presentation.
No, it is perfectly presented. Don't ever question my presentability.
Look, if you're shipping in Poshmark, there's no worry if you're adding the extra weight of a box. You have 5 pounds to work with. So why not just, if you want to, who bubbles non-breakable stuff? I guess other than we have in the past. But, just put it in the box and, the good presentation and ship it out. Clear polys are good. They can see what they're opening. Put it in a box. That's if you're shipping it through Poshmark. And with eBay, if it's under a pound, it's under a pound, maybe add the extra layer of bubble for the clothing, only so that if they do open it, they're not cutting into the fabric.
Yeah, and I bubble everything.
Yeah,
everything I touch or ship gets bubbled.
Anyway, Fisher Flip says, exactly, Biff. This will weed out the shady and bad sellers. I'm hopeful that eBay finds a way to take those sellers and just push them down in the algorithm. And I'm hopeful that the AI that we're dealing with right now, I'm hopeful that may be what's happening here. And I hope you guys tune in tomorrow to the podcast. I think it went well. Josh thinks it went well.
I heard through the door, and I think it looked well or went well.
Look well? You were peeping through the door?
You know what? Can you stop?
She's always on me, so I had to get on her.
Yeah, I'm tripping over my words today. I'm not feeling well either, and so
it is what it is. And we banter back and forth.
Okay, so Josh's son is watching, and he says to say hello to us both. Hi, Henry.
How you doing? Nice to hear from you. Thank you for being with us. We have about 160 people watching, so that's really good. Not at Josh levels, though. Josh is always over 200 on his lives. But you know what? I got to tell you, he is consistent. I think that's what helps build a channel: consistency, consistent content, and that's how you build a channel. Let's see. Mike says, "Hello. Taxes are fraudulent. It's not fun to pay. No one wants to pay taxes. No one wants to pay, all that money. And I don't think, for me, it's if the money was being spent better than it's spent by our government, I would not even be as bothered by it. But it is what it is. We have Maya says, I thought 1099s were pushed off because IRS wasn't ready. Still got 1099s for my platform because Maryland is one of the states that required them for years. So yes, it is state specific as well. So some states require it over a certain threshold, and that's already been in place. But in all honesty, it's extra work for eBay to process all these 1099s. And think about it. How many people, once they get that 1099 in the mail and they totally forgot they sold that $700 item back in March, are going to get it and go, oh no, and now they're going to be having to report that, and maybe it'll put them over into the next tax bracket, whatever amount that they sold. And it's going to make them think twice to list on eBay or online ever again. You'll see a lot more yard sales as a result of it. I guess that's a good thing, right? But how many people are going to leave the platform? And I'm sure that worries eBay because that's going to affect their bottom line. They're already losing sellers on the platform, okay? And something like this is only going to make that happen, I would say, in droves. Beard says, only pushed off for 2022. They were supposed to clarify it for 2023, only 3 months left. So they told us it's a thing for 2023, and here they are, like they were last year, the last 3 months of the year, trying to get Congress to change it. Now, from what I read an associated article saying that there is some support in Congress to get that changed, not necessarily to kick the can again down the road, which they may, but to maybe change some of the thresholds. So it's not $600, it could be a little bit higher amount, which makes sense to me. JSV Insurance says, save those receipts and itemize your deductions to offset. Yes,
that's right.
Save your receipts. But I guess the argument is, look, if I bought something 10 years ago, I was buying it for myself, had no intention on reselling it at the time, so I wasn't going to save the receipt. I guess you could put an estimated, how much do you think you paid for it, if you can remember that far back.
And then what if you're buying at yard sales? You don't get a receipt.
Well, if you're buying at a yard sale, if you're buying at a yard sale, you are buying it probably for resale. Now, if you're buying it for yourself and then you sell it later down the line and you sell it for, you're gonna have a general idea. If I have this item I bought for $5, I sell it for 50 in 2 years. Well, you did buy this for $50 at the yard sale. You're going to have to put an approximate value of cost of goods, maybe document that somewhere. Also, ATM receipts are very helpful. Like if you go to the ATM the day of the yard sale to pull out money, that's the only way I could see. Now, JSV Insurance Group, I don't know if you're a CPA, but if we have a CPA in the house, that is the one question. What is the IRS going to ask from you if you're buying something many, many years ago, or if you've bought something for resale at a yard sale and you don't have the receipts to show your cost of goods? Biff Boffo says, eBay acting like they care about the little guy. They just don't want the cost of processing, please. Well, they do care about the little guy, as far as if you take a million little guys that are now going to reconsider selling on the platform. That's quite a bit of money that is now no longer going to be given to eBay through final value fees and things of that nature. So I do think that they are worried about their own bottom line, and I think the processing is one part of that. I think the further loss of sellers on the platform, because they have to appease their shareholders, and how does it look to those shareholders if year over year they're losing sellers on the platform, and maybe this happens in droves? And what is that going to do to their share prices?
Okay, so Meg, Lilac Seller, said you're allowed to write your own receipts. I have an old school receipt book I use for rummages and library book sales.
Right. So you're just going to have to keep good records.
Yeah.
Sylvia says, hi, John and Jenna in chat. Thanks for being
Sylvia.
Here. Chaching King says, as soon as I started running eBay like a business, I started paying taxes. Way before I was making 20K, the change in the law didn't impact me.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, based on your statement here, So what about the time before you started running it like a business? So let's say you made $2,000 on that particular year. If you're a seller that is in 2023 that's not running it like a business, you're going to feel like maybe it's not worth doing. And you may decide that you're not going to sell anymore. So something to consider. These people are probably not comfortable with taxes. The idea that they're getting a 1099 is going to put them off. And I just think that's why eBay is fighting so hard to get this change. So if you support that, sign the thing on Main Street, and if they get enough signatures, digital signatures, I'm sure that's going to mean something to somebody.
Well, usually it does.
Well, usually it does, but that's why they have it. If nobody went on there and signed it, then it would show that there's really not a whole lot of support. Jovial says, John and Josh, may I get your autograph? Looking forward to your new eBay Power Hour podcast. Well, I'll save the ink because my autograph ain't worth the paper it's written on. But, it's amazing to me. We have not put out a single video on that channel, and we have over 150 people that have decided to subscribe. So that's awesome. It really makes me think that this is going to be a successful podcast. Just having that conversation with Josh, before the podcast made me know it was going to work out really well. It's funny. I felt like we could have maybe had a 2 to 3 hour podcast, and I had to stop because normally, and Beard can attest to this, or anybody who does a live, you have that time when you're in the little lobby of StreamYard, and I just started talking, shop with him, and we were like 30 minutes in, and I said, we need to stop because we're going to lose a lot of our content. So, we could have easily made the show 2 hours, but we wanted to make the podcast just 1 hour, just try to get our thoughts within 1 hour, not spreading it out, no dead air. And it's just a really, really good conversation. So
yeah, I even came in here because it didn't sound like they were talking shop like for the video. They were talking shop, but just not on camera. They were laughing too much. So I came in here and I'm like, are you started yet?
We were about to start when she walked in.
And it was already 30 minutes in. I was like, what the heck?
It's Cha-Ching King. Hold on real quick. Thank you, Cha-Ching King. We agree. Sorry, I wasn't clear. 20,000 was a high threshold, easy to comply. $600, one item could blow by that. Yeah. My concern is though, you're going to have, because I've been selling for over 20 years. I've been selling on a part-time basis to supplement my full-time job. And, I'd sell for months at a time. I'd stop and sell for months at a time. I wasn't always looking for product. I just would stumble across opportunities and I'd sell. And if something like this came up for me at that time, I would have really thought twice about it. It's not something I really wanted to deal with at the time. And, I wasn't, like I said, I was selling part-time. Some years I'd sell maybe no more than $1,000 worth of stuff. And if I had to go back and start like racking my brain over something I did 12 months prior, I probably wouldn't have, continued thinking of eBay as a way to sell. Now once we became a little bit more focused on this as a supplemental part of income, and I think that was like 2017 when we were buying bulk pallets. We started really treating it as a business at that time. So, but thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Cali Debs is in Yosemite, one of the most beautiful places in the world.
So fun. I love Yosemite.
We've had many
family vacations.
Well, we've had many adventures in Yosemite. We dodged what is it called? The neurovirus or the HEPA virus? One of those viruses is carried by rodents. And the only reason why we didn't get that virus, it was back in 2012. We stayed in one of those cabins out in Yosemite. And when you go in, the wood flooring is covered with dirt. Mm-hmm. And we had like 3 beds in there. And we were with our kids. And we just decided to take one of the beds, the the blanket and put it over the floor. And had we have swept the dirt like some people did, get it all up in the air,
Yeah,
we
people were sweeping the dirt, then it was going into the air.
Yeah.
I decided to take one of the big blankets off of one of the beds and just lay it over the top of the wood, and that
Hentavirus is the hentavirus. The hentavirus. And that people had, like, I think at least a dozen people died that stayed there that same weekend.
So sad.
And a lot of others got sick. We didn't get sick at all, but we ended up getting something in the mail from the National Park Service, making sure we were okay. So Jerry Johnson says, hello, everyone. Yesterday we got 6 inches of rain in central Nebraska.
Ooh,
rain sounds good.
Rain.
Andy from Indiana is in the house. How's that FAE family doing? Doing just fine. Thank you for asking. See, Josh says, I'm a smaller seller depending on the day. No, I've seen your store. You're doing quite well. Silver hair stacker Larry Todd. It is not true that I'm Roman's baby daddy. I ain't gonna say a thing.
Spread that lie.
I ain't gonna say a thing, but that might be why you're not showing your face on YouTube. Mark Suddick says, hi all resellers. Talked to a U.S. rep for over an hour. I was having no sales again. Finally admitted to me they're working on major platform things, and it is causing major problems for all sellers. So I can tell you, though, that frontline reps don't always get the complete story. They get a scripted, here's what we want the people to know, and it may not be the entire story. And that's from running a call center or being part of the process of running a call center and knowing what that entails. Like, for instance, we're with the train, if we had an accident or derailment, we would only tell people certain things, and we wouldn't go any further than that. So I'm not saying that this is to that level, but
also there are people who do know things, and they will think that they're not being recorded or monitored or heard, but they will slip and they will tell.
Sure.
So maybe that's quite possibly what happened here.
Yeah. And as it pertains to the podcast that we're going to be talking tomorrow, we go into some things that may speak to this a little bit. So be sure you're watching. If you can't make it at 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern tomorrow morning, make sure you watch it at some point and just check it out. We may be onto something, and then again we might not be, but we're always going to do some digging on that podcast. And I think it's the first episode was what Josh calls a banger. Autismus Prime. Okay. Autismus. Yeah. Hey, John and Jenna, do you think one day telescopes will be sold on eBay that have the capability of seeing atoms? They already do. I believe they do, but I'm not a scientist. So let's see. Roman says, Todd, you don't have enough silver for that. Ha ha ha. Fisher Flip says, I think it's good for the shady and bad sellers. Once they get their 1099, they will more than likely not pay their taxes and will get off the site. It'll be a warning shot. Will they report their taxes? Well, here's the deal. If eBay is sending them a 1099, the IRS is getting that same form. So if they're choosing not to file those taxes, well, the IRS is expecting them to, and that's going to cause them problems. Maya says to Jenna, I got a suspension threat notice from YouTube last week saying I was violating the spam policies and trying to sell to viewers. Every other comment I post gets removed. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what that Nightbot thing does.
Okay.
It does it in other chats as well. And I've seen it many, like in a lot of the true crime ones that I watch.
The ones that you and Tommy watch?
Yeah, the ones that me and Tommy watch.
Yeah.
Tommy and I were on one last night. It was so funny. I'm all, what the heck? I'm looking at the comments. Like, why aren't you smelling shoes?
Mike says, I only discuss reselling platforms, but they think I'm advertising myself.
Yeah, it's there. I don't know what there has to be some guidelines with that thing, and they It's not for every chat.
Brian says, "Hi guys, it's been a minute since I've been on the live show. I'm ready for a cha-ching." Yes, hit that like button, get the cha-ching. We got Shalami Shamich says, "How do I get rid of the heart bubble on the right side of the chat window? It's blocking off the comments."
I don't know how to get it off, honey. I just don't know. It is blocking the comments.
That's annoying.
It is very
Watch
annoying.
it on your computer. That's the way to block it. Maya says, "So I won't be commenting on videos much, if at all, anymore. I like commenting on your videos, but it's not allowed apparently."
No, it is allowed. We will be rid of the Nightbot when
Nightbot's
this is over.
been fired. There's a site that's nightbot.tv or something, and you link your account to it. I just thought it would be a way to not have to burden anyone with getting rid of the spam sometimes we see and
he
things
thought
like
he was
that.
doing us all a favor, but he's really causing more chaos than anything.
So I guess we'll have to just let it go for now.
Yeah,
and get
poor Lisa probably doesn't feel safe enough to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It's certainly something I'm going to work on as soon as the live stream's done. Henri Squaws is coming in late. Howdy, thanks for being here. Late is better than never, that's for sure. Lilac Seller says Lisa. And then just sold my first reseller rally pickup tonight.
Ooh,
awesome.
Very cool.
I know that there are some folks already in town for that, right? I know that Mike was going to be coming into town.
Boss reseller.
I know, but okay, for the boss reseller.
She's talking about Cincinnati.
But the one that's coming up here, the reseller
is that
remix.
This weekend?
That is this week coming up, and I know Mike was going to be in town. Today he was going to miss the live stream because he was flying into town, hit the yard sales, right? So, I got that mixed up with that. David Pentland says, "Hi, folks. Thanks for being here." And then the Nightbot says, "Who will not be on this program again. Don't forget to hit that like button and magically you'll get a sale within the next 24 hours. Don't ask how it works. Just do it." That's kind of freaky.
How did you put that
That's
in there?
Freaky.
Did you put that in there? You did.
Hustle and Grow says, "I'm starting the petition to advocate for Jenna's choice pick thumbnail."
Thank you.
Let's see.
That could get dangerous.
Nightbot is back. It'll restart itself. I had to delete it.
Okay. Yeah.
Big Dre says, "I'm thinking of purchasing multiple items that are $180 each because I'm certain they'll sell for upwards of $500 plus because they're limited quantity. Once they're sold out, what do you think?" So are you anticipating right now it's not selling for over 500, but you're thinking that in the future you're going to score over 500? I always kind of wondered, if I could go back in time, as a kid, instead of buying one G.I. Joe, I'd buy two and put one away, right? And then I'd have a pristine package and everything unopened. The reseller in me now wasn't the reseller mindset that I had as a kid. I just wanted to play with the toys. But as an adult, I don't know if I'd want to take, that's kind of a gamble. Unless you're certain that that type of item is going to really go up in price. There's been, like, for instance, there's that lady that has all those toys that I could easily go over there and give her $300 and clear out her garage, I guess. And it's filled with, that just was weird that my monitor went out. Sorry about that, guys.
That was freaky.
It was filled with tubs full of Barbies that were from the 90s, and they're in the box. Looked like, like brand new. And I was initially saying, wow, these are going to be really good. And you go in and look, and this Barbie's only worth like $20-$25. And they probably retailed for a little less than that. So someone like her who was, taking time to save those, buy those, put those away, store them in her garage, hoard them, thinking that, and when I showed her the comps, that these weren't worth what she thought they were worth, she really seemed bothered by that. So be very careful if you're going to buy stuff and the comps just aren't there. It's very speculative, and it may not work the way you are hoping it is going to work. Let's see. Derek 87's in the house. Thanks for being here. And then Noah Design says, "Funny thing is the Nightbot commented saying, hit the button for your free sales."
Weird. Yeah, that was weird, but it was.
Midstate 515 says, "You're just a pup." Well, some days I don't feel that way. Trust me.
Today's not that day.
No One Design says Nightbot got sold to another platform by hitting the like button. Karen Abera says, hello all. Thanks for being here. And Brian Barrett says, hey, FA fam, sending all my best from Dallas, Texas, home of the soon-to-be world champion Texas Rangers. Well, it could be.
You said, well,
it could be. They have a chance. They're still in the game. They're in our division, the Angels, so I can't give them that much love. But I got to respect the fandom from one fan to another. For you, I hope they do well. When my Angels are out of it, I stop paying attention. It just baseball doesn't have the same meaning to me. It's about my team, following my team. Mad Hatter's Boutique says, if I run my eBay under my LLC as a business, is there anything new I need to be wary of for taxes? I always pay taxes on profits, so wondering if this is only for 1099, no business people. I would ask somebody like Bearded Picker. I know that I think he's an S Corp from what I understand, but I think it's the same type of reporting. So I'm still a sole proprietor. I haven't made the leap, even though I've been thinking about doing that.
Yeah, I started doing the research on it, and I got thoroughly it's too much for me.
Yeah, it's something that I do want to know the answer to. So if there's somebody in the chat that has the answer or is a CPA, I'd love to know. Cha-Ching King says, I have no time to wrestle with some virtual warrior. Yeah, if you think about it, it's like if they're watching a video. This is the thing that kills me about trolls. And I wasn't going to really go into this, but the thing that kills me about trolls,
about the Nightbot.
well, but also trolls too. Those are virtual warriors as well. And it's that you put out a video and like someone said, they said 16 minutes wasted with no content of the video I put it out yesterday. And okay, I could point to a few things that I said that's beneficial to a number of resellers, but if you're going to take the time and that's all you can think of is to write something negative, why are you wasting your time? I just never understood that. Mike says, personally, I enjoy the faces John makes on the pre-recorded videos, which don't think will change. Maybe he will work on one for the EPH podcast and get Josh to follow suit.
I kept telling that he was making all, the thumbnail and everything, and he's trying to make all the graphics and all this and that. And I'm like, you guys need I said to call Josh and tell Josh to take a selfie of himself without any, crazy hands or.
I asked him to. But he didn't send me one. So
Josh,
I'm like, okay, I need to get this thumbnail done.
Henry, tell your dad to take a selfie.
It's done. We have the thumbnail. What do you guys think? If you checked out the channel, what do you think of the thumbnail?
Those aren't the pictures that I'm talking about.
Okay, but I think the thumbnail as we have it
is that
fine.
One is fine, but for future videos.
It's not going to be that's going to be the thumbnail. We're going to update it. It's going to be episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. So everyone knows that is unless he wants to do something different. It's just boring. It's not boring. Trust me, you're going to be tuning in for the content, not the thumbnail. Trust me. Kelly says your video is fine. Unfortunately, some people can't handle the truth.
That's true, Kelly.
Yeah. D Schmidt says you're right. We watch your videos. Love watching you too. Feel like I personally know you. Greetings from everyone in Montana.
Montana.
Love
Montana.
I want to
go to Montana.
Love Montana. Just so peaceful and green.
I want to go there so bad.
Big Dre says, I'm tired and hungry on my way to IHOP for breakfast. I guess they serve breakfast 24 hours. Well, they serve other things at IHOP. But
yeah, they do.
Yeah, I know. But that's what they're known for. Mike Camparelli says, Josh has also made 1 or 2 funny faces in his thumbs. This just serves to humanize these gentlemen, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, thumbnails are supposed to, if you look at the way the algorithm is set up with YouTube, thumbnails are supposed to attract someone into clicking on the content. If I have this horrific face and I'm talking about something great, yeah, that would be kind of clicky, right? But if it's somewhat to somebody can be detrimental and I'm showing a shocked face, it's in tune with the content. So as long as the way I look at it is, as long as it's in tune with the content, yeah, it can be a little over dramatic, but that is the game of YouTube. It's nobody makes videos and posts them on YouTube with the intention of not being seen. Everyone wants high view counts. It's kind of a game to me, and it has. And I could demonetize this whole thing, and it would still be a game to me. It's about, really how many people are going to watch. It's kind of how many likes you're going to get on an Instagram post. Some people worry about that, right?
We don't care.
I don't care.
We don't care. It's about the content. It's not about.
It's about the content, but it's helping people, getting the word out to others.
Yes.
And it's always been that. But if I know that I'm spending the time to put a video out, and because people want a vanilla thumbnail, they want vanilla content. You're
not getting vanilla here, honey.
Well, right, but if it was about that, it would just kind of take the fun away to me.
We got a mint chip, cookie dough, brownie, chocolate,
waffle cone. Mad Hatter's Boutique says, also, I keep seeing ads from eBay in my Instagram feed. Sometimes there is 1 of 15 items that are mine, and other times 7 of 15 images that are my items. Free ads for the win.
Wait.
Yeah,
so your ads
that's really interesting.
Is coming up on your Instagram.
Well, I know that eBay is pushing the idea of advertising your listings through social media. So that's not a step that we've taken. Again, I think that those are good, like newsletters, right? Private coupons, the kind you maybe put on a label and stick to the package. I think that's a great way, by the way, if you have a niche. Or in this case, advertising on social media. It works well if you have a niche because
eBay
they know
ads,
what they're going to get with you, and that type of thing. Now,
eBay ads. I
haven't seen any.
I didn't mean you were posting them, but posting them of your items.
But eBay does want you to start pushing your items through social media. It's a thing that they want.
TikTok has eBay ads every 5 scrolls.
Yeah, and
it's very annoying, but it's only for tennis shoes and purses and watches.
Rad's in Montana as well. Thank you for being here.
Now that's a sign that we have to go to Montana.
Well, I've been there. I've been to Billings.
I haven't.
Otnip Drop Flip says, hello, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Drop Flips.
And JSV Insurance says it's a constant learning process, not to mention constantly changing trends to keep up with. I think the whole
isn't that the truth?
Bookkeeping thing. Let's see. Where is Tommy? Anyways, I still blame
here.
Tommy. I don't know why it feels right. Everyone blames
He just
Tommy.
got here maybe a half hour ago.
Let's see. Guide Guru, when to eat your hat? Well, I've got plenty of them, and I've, had put my foot in my mouth many times, so why not put a hat in my mouth? Noah Design says, Jenna speaks the truth. What they learned from me is not to put oddball things in the background, or I will point it out. Yes.
That is the truth.
You are the most observative person I think I've ever met. Observative or
observant.
Okay. I think I just made a word.
Yeah, you did.
That was the bonus feature in my Hooked on Phonics lesson today. The Comic Miner says, taxation is theft. I don't think I should have to pay taxes on my $130,000 or so in sales every year, but I do because I'm too pretty for jail. $600 though, definitely not. That's just petty. That's I think
too pretty for jail.
I think it's just scraping. It's really scraping, and you're really gonna burden a lot of people who were just trying to move a few things online, and maybe instead of putting them out at a yard sale, was trying to get a few bucks more online. I don't know. It's that's the only part of it. It doesn't sit well with me is the person who's not trying to do this to make money, just trying to move some things. And while they can probably prove that they didn't make a profit on it, the fact that they have to go through the process kind of sucks. Yeah. Let's see. Reselling can give you personal freedom. I 100% agree with that.
Absolutely.
But do not go out and quit your job unless you really know for sure that you're going to be able to knock it out. Let's say you're doing this part-time. That's probably the best way to do it. Do it to supplement your current job. And then, and only then, if you can, knock it out the park, just a matter of you putting in more time, then maybe that's something to consider. Karen says, is it better to list slower than to list a lot in one day? Does that do anything to the algorithm? Well, and I think Tech and Sports said this, and I like to use him as an example because I think the man knows what he's talking about. In a video that he had with Daily Refinement, he was talking about how he disagreed with the idea of just spitting out all these listings for the sake of spitting out a bunch of listings. It's always been for him, and I've been this way even with my other job, is that shortcuts aren't always the best way to get things done. If you want it done to where you don't have to go back and correct things, do it right the first time. And I think the algorithm is now favoring more item specifics than it ever has. So if you've put up a lot of items for sale that have maybe only the required item specifics and no additional item specifics, you are not going to do as well on that very same item as someone who does. And tune in tomorrow to the podcast and we'll talk more about that. Kelly says, I am 8 years into reselling as a hobby side hustle, and I'm still learning. It is an ever-changing market.
Absolutely.
I think I heard someone at the door. Did you hear someone in there? Maybe they left the package and didn't ring the
Now
doorbell.
he's hearing things.
Mm-hmm. But I want my paper tape machine.
Yours?
So you can have
Yours?
it. Well, you can have it. I don't care. Guide Guru says, I don't think anyone in here is going to be affected by the $600 threshold, even with things this slow. I agree with you on that. But there are people who watch these programs that are on the fence, that are, I'm really trying to learn before I get started in reselling. So they're watching a lot of these shows, they're learning, and they're considering the idea that maybe this is something I can do to supplement my income. And it's those people who are going to be maybe scared away by that. And so there are a few people who are watching. I get emails from people all the time who say, I watch your channel. I'm thinking about doing this on a part-time basis. So they're out there. JSV Insurance Group. I'm new to the channel and you guys seem really grounded. Some of these people think there doesn't stink. I can tell you there's a lot of channels out there that I don't watch anymore because of that very thing. Here's the thing. We have no reason. I mean, we're not going to gain anything at all by trying to blow smoke up your butts. Honestly, if something goes wrong, I'm going to tell you about it. If I screw up, I'm going to tell you about it. And the reason why is because I learned from it. Well, why do you have to make that same mistake to learn from something that I just did wrong? So I don't mind looking like a fool because a lot of times I do. I end up looking like a fool because I do foolish things, and I'm a human being. And anyone who comes out in front of a camera pretending to be something they're not, or acting like they are above changing, because eBay wants you to change. eBay is, I think this year more than ever, and I think we're going to be talking about that in detail tomorrow on the podcast, but eBay is really pushing this idea that you have to adapt. And if you're so stuck in the past and you're not willing to change because you think your way is the way and there's no other way, you've been doing it for 15, 20 years, and because it's worked all that time, it has to work still, then those people are going to suffer. And it just drives me crazy when I watch these channels and see just a lot of phoniness. So I'm with you on that. David Pentland says, I've left a lot of groups of resellers. I used to watch a lot of different channels. I've kind of funneled down or pared down the number of channels that I watch. Josh Galt says, I always remind myself the commentator could be drunk, high, 14, a rageaholic, depressed, sad, miserable, etc.
That's
and some of those reselling groups, yeah. Maya says, John, if the rude comments get you down, I had a patient a few weeks ago who reported to me because she was using the commode and I handed her toilet paper instead of a wipe.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. They really don't get me down. They just, I'm always, it's not like I read these comments and I move on. I do think about what people do put in the comments. Some more than others if it's constructive. If it's nasty, I just kind of block and move on. And then Josh says, nasty comments are a reflection of the commenter more than the presenter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That just, when I see that type of a comment, it tells me that that person is unhappy with their life in some shape or form. They're unhappy and they're spouting it out on you.
Well, it's just like this. If you make content on YouTube, you shouldn't attack somebody. Even if you don't agree with their content, you shouldn't attack someone on their channel. I had to block someone that people talk about lately, and I've pretty much glossed over any conversation that involves that person because I've had to block them because you don't go and attack another creator. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe you have a little trick up your sleeve that works for you. And what I'm saying is my experience and not yours. Well, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just my experience. But to attack the creator for doing that is not a good look at all, and especially not a good look for you as a creator. So I've had to do that too. Cha-Ching King says, I think I've complained about every change eBay has ever made, and yet eBay is far better than it was in the late 90s. At least some of the times I complained, I had to be wrong. Now, that is a very, very good point. And anyone who complains about eBay all the time needs to pull themselves back into the late 90s, but also the 2000s. Again, we didn't have a PayPal. We didn't have eBay payments. You had to wait for either cash to be mailed to you, money order, or a check. And even then, you had to wait for payment to clear before you ship things out. And eventually you got to the point where don't send cash because, someone could say they sent $20, but they didn't send $20. I've been burned for $500 on a diamond sale where someone sent a cashier's check. At least that's what I thought it was. And because it was a cashier's check, we thought it was good. We mailed it out. They had good feedback. And we put it in the checking account and the thing bounced. And that person was long gone. They didn't answer a message. There was no seller protection. You were on your own. So things are a lot better than they used to be back in the day. That's for sure. J Ride Flip says, or all of them at once. I don't know what that's for, but Landshark Picker's with us. If eBay is so bad, why do the complainers continue to sell on eBay? And that's what I asked in my video. Why, if you hate eBay so much, and there's people that put some nasty comments in these videos. If you hate eBay so much, why are you selling on the platform? There's other places to go.
Yeah.
And the answer to that question is because there's still money to be made here. Mm-hmm. And so they
it's
don't
not as
leave.
bad as you think it is.
They're happy to complain when the sales aren't here, but when they're getting the sales, it's quiet, right? So I only report what I am told from you guys, what I see myself. Good sales or bad, I'm reporting the things that I see. And like the other day, we had an issue, another glitch that was coming up and giving me a timeout message when I'm trying to run labels. I'm kind of in a hurry trying to get labels out. And I sent out something saying, hey guys, have you seen this? Because if it's on my end, maybe I got to reboot the computer. Maybe something's going on. But a lot of you guys were reporting that you were having problems with running labels as well. That was earlier this week. Karen says, thank you both so much. Learned so much from watching your channel. No, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Karen.
It's really you guys make the community. You guys come here, you come to the lives, you interact with each other, you ask us questions, and that's kind of what makes this whole thing work. Guy Guru says, well, that is what I'm saying. Everyone that is serious about reselling is earning over 600. You're supposed to be reporting it as income anyway. You're correct.
Oh.
But we all know the reality. The reality is many people, and I'm not going to say everybody because there's people that have integrity out there. Many people that didn't get a 1099, we're not reporting it. If we're being honest about it, just knowing the nature of people, many people do try to get by with as little taxes as they have to pay. And I'm not faulting anyone for that because I'm not going to sit here and judge people for their situation. Everyone's situation is different. I can only be accountable for what I do. At the end of the day, IRS isn't going to come asking me questions about someone else. Let's see. Noah Design says, happy birthday, Saved by the Bell Kelly. So, okay. Awesome. Silver Hair says, Roman thinks complaining is a hot mail order bride. Wow. Let's see if we can get down here to Kim Sharp. Says, hi, everyone. Just got back from vacation, put my store on vacation for 2 weeks, and actually had 60 sales.
Woo-wee!
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And then Thrifty Loon says, please pick my ear, John. Yeah, that's so bad.
That was, you knew it was coming. Get out of here.
Yeah, just sometimes I can say stupid things. Otnip Drop Flips says, hey, Bobbles, how are you doing? I haven't seen her at all. Maybe I skipped over. Rad says, tell everyone I have a question about returns. Do you all do free returns, and do you give returns for any reason? I do not do free returns. And the reason is, for me, is I sell things that are quite heavy, and the labels usually cost anywhere from $15 to sometimes $60, $70. So if I did free returns and someone gets that toilet seat and they just don't like the way it feels on their butt, for whatever reason, they just say, I don't like it, and they return it due to a remorse return, it's fine. It was everything that was advertised. Now I'm on the hook to pay for that return label. So I do not do free returns for that reason. If you're selling things that are, say, under 2 pounds, I think it's certainly a good idea to offer not only free returns and maybe even free shipping to help you in the algorithm. So that is my take on that one. Let's see who else we have. Trying to get caught up as well. June Hodge says, I put clothes in tissue paper or a clear bag before putting it in the poly mailer. My biggest struggle is lint rolling. Love my animals, but fur gets everywhere. So you got to have a good lint roller. If you don't have a good lint roller, simply take your tape. Sorry, you all know what that sounds like anyway. If you're wearing earphones, I apologize. And then just roll the tape. You have it like in a little roll on your finger. Just roll the tape on the garment, and that's your free lint roller if you have a lot of tape sitting around. Guide Guru says, I use poly only for shirts, never had a complaint, and sold thousands. So there you go. A lot of people like to pre-bag their clothing in the clear polys and then throw that clear poly in their poly mailer. That's what we do. Not always, though, because sometimes that item isn't in a poly for whatever reason, and it just goes without it.
I've never done that.
Mike says, hi, John and Jenna. This week is great. I'm so happy that I've cross-listed between Mercari, Poshmark, and Bonanza. I've seen about $75 in net sales. Sweet. Yeah. And then Midstate 515 says, Josh is a rock star. So you got some fans out there, Josh. Henri Squaw says, now I have the blue banner at the top of Seller Hub asking me to go paperless for $10.99. I actually want the piece of paper. So just leave it as it is. If you don't change any settings, they'll send you the paper. I like, I'm the kind of person that if I'm checking out, like at a store, it'll say, do you want the email or the receipt? And I'll just say both. I'm just weird that way. I don't know. Karen says, changing the threshold would be helpful to smaller resellers like myself. Mm-hmm. And Lilac Seller Meg says, you're allowed to write your own receipts. I have an old school receipt book I use for rummages and library book sales. Liz Shirley says, I fell last week and broke my collarbone. Ooh. Spent 3 days in the hospital, prayed for no sales till I got out, got a few cents. I'm hitting the like button to get sales going again. I can pack and hubby ships. There you go.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a speedy and healthy recovery, because that's no
fun.
Joke.
That is not fun.
Yeah.
No Design says, pro tip, use Zelle to pay for inventory and receive payment for sales. It is not counted towards the $600 threshold. This only works locally, won't work on selling platforms, so yard sales, estate sales. And I
thought they were putting
not on Zelle.
It's on what's the other guy?
Are you talking about Venmo?
Yes.
I don't think it's even Venmo. Is it Venmo?
I thought it was Venmo.
I don't think Venmo. Generally, if you're gonna have a yard sale, you're gonna take cash. But yes, if they don't have enough cash on hand, it's a larger ticket item. Maybe they're buying a lot of your stuff. Certainly, Zelle is a way to go. Lilac Seller Meg is excited for the podcast. So are we. We'll have it set up as a premiere. So if you go to the podcast when it starts at 8 in the morning Pacific time, 11 Eastern, it'll give you an opportunity to chat while the video is going on. But again, if you're chatting while the video is going on, I think there's so much information that it's just kind of fly over your head. You might have to go back and watch it again. Larry Todd says Josh and John are maybe a little smarter than me. I think you're quite wise. I listened to you on Beard's a live stream. You know what you're talking about. Jovial Juggler says, I read LY, they plan to hire an additional 87,000 employees to handle the tax return load. That's over $4 billion in payroll alone a year.
Jesus.
Patricia says, I hate posh sellers packaging when they cram clothes into a small poly bag. Why when priority mailboxes are free?
Yeah.
It drives me nuts, Patricia, when I have to go in and take the item out of the poly and put it in a box. And she's like, what are you doing?
But okay, so she's talking about cramming it into. I don't cram. I use a big enough poly to where there's room. But his issue is the whole scissors thing.
Well, you know, these supplies are free. I would rather, you know, and by the way, GyroPack is our sponsor. They have great poly mailers and
that's
bubble
why
mailers.
I love them. I just want to use them.
Hit the link down below. Best prices on the internet. And I'm not just saying that. I used to buy them all the time on Amazon, and you get better deals with them. I think you get 10% off if you use the link.
Speaking of, you need
but
to order.
I would rather not spend 10 cents on a poly mailer if I'm getting a free USPS box. And if
but
Poshmark
I already packed it, and then you're just going to rip it open, and you already trashed the 10 cents.
Well, I know, but I just want to get you into the mindset that if it's a Poshmark item, put it in a box. I think it's better presentation. The buyer is going to see that, I think, in a little different light than if it's just stuffed in a poly mailer.
It's not never stuffed.
Usually it's okay. So you don't have a lot of room.
Okay, we're going to have this discussion off air.
I'm going to have to make a post showing you the next one of these she puts together. I get on her butt a lot of times, but it's really not that serious.
He does. It's so annoying.
Tommy says the rep will tell you whatever you want to hear to get you off the phone. Calling in about sales is just going to make them rip the last phone line out. Yeah, I got to tell you, many times, and this is a little tip, is that if you wanted someone off the phone, all you had to do is tell them what they wanted to hear. And of course, they probably call back all pissed off when that didn't happen, but at least they're off your line. That is the mindset of many reps. Especially if you're dealing with someone that's not pleasant, that's already pissed off because their sales aren't there, and they're putting you on the line or putting you under the gun as to why am I not getting the sales? And because you don't have an answer, and you know that person, it's not going to be the answer they want to hear, and they're probably not going to get off the line. You just say kind of whatever just to make them think, okay, we're going through a lot of problems right now, and things will be better. Okay, that's all I need to hear. And when there may not be any substance to it. Randall says, starting up international sales this weekend, does anyone in the FAE community have any tips to share? So good question. My only tip would be know that there's going to be some services, depending on the country that this item is handed off to, that is going to treat your item like a Frisbee and pack your item even more so with more bubble wrap or more padding than you normally would to get through that little adventure. That would be my advice. Silver Hair Stacker says eBay reps need to speak Texan. I can't understand what they're saying.
They just need to speak English.
No Bullsh says it's microscope, not telescope, to see Adam. What an intelligent question asked in a really dumb way. I'm not going to go any further than that. Patricia says cramming to me is crushing the clothing in a package they can barely
close. I don't do cramming. No. It's folded very nicely and it fits perfectly.
Maya says, I think now my account is being targeted like John's eBay store. Probably every comment I post is put through YouTube's filter.
I hope not.
Now, that's not just this channel, I hope, right? It's other channels as well, because Nightbot is looking for another job.
Nightbot is now unemployed by flipping ain't easy.
Yeah, all the money that he has spent on that contract. Let's see here. It's Sandy in the sticks. Got here late, but just in time to be reminded to hit the like button by the Nightbot alias child. Yes, hit that like button, guys. Roman, I'm officially enemies with Nightbot now. That's your Aretha favorite. And then Sarah says, hello, turned international shipping on last week and no sales since. Turned it off again, ended, and sold similar. until they fix it, guys, I'm not going with international shipping. It's a great, on its face, I think it's
on paper it looks
I
great.
think it looks great. It's a great idea. I like the way they have it. Yeah, the buyer's paying a little bit more for shipping, but the seller is being protected. Once eBay gets it and they send it off, it's not your problem anymore. But I have found that it is killing my sales, and that's why I shut it off. Now, when I see comments like Sarah's, it makes me just want to continue to wait it out because
we're not in a rush.
I mean, I'm just not interested in that. Jimmy D says, late to live. Sorry if you already covered. Have you seen the Rachel Strickland video on item specifics? I think she's on to something.
I just watched that before we were live when I was putting my face on.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It confirms kind of what I think's going on, and you're going to have to watch the podcast tomorrow. It's data, guys. The algorithm is smartening up. It's AI, okay? And it's looking at data. If you have just the required item specifics and nothing else, it has limited data, okay? If someone types in, because not everyone's going to type in Nike polo shirt. They're going to type in, I need a formal shirt for a wedding. Or they're going to type in some weird crap in the search, all right? Not everyone's a robot typing in robot type things into these searches. And if your title doesn't cover what they're asking for, and maybe they're using a word that, maybe you didn't think to put in your title that happens to be either in your item specifics or your item description, because your item description is part of it, guys. I've told you guys this many times before on videos. Go back and look at some of my videos. Did one on item descriptions. And the idea that you're placing keywords in your item description that you don't have room for in your title. You'll have 80 characters in your title. So that's the item description, and your item specifics is a place to put data for the algorithm to see and to say, yes, it's not in the title, but they did mention this in the item specifics. Let's include this in the results. So there is something to it. I think that what I'm surprised about is that the item specifics is picking it up as if it were looking at your title and your item description. So I'm somewhat surprised by that, but I'm learning from what I talked to Josh about. You guys will be privy to hear that things are a little bit different than I thought that they were. And I think she is onto something, but this is something that if you're following the best practices listing items, your items would be just fine, because you're getting these keywords into your listing where a lot of people are trying to do the fast route, the shortcut route to get a lot of listings. And it's YouTubers' faults that we've programmed into your mind that you need to get as many items listed as you can today. And that usually means shortcuts. If you're taking shortcuts, these things are, you're going to miss a lot of key things that your listing needs. And that could explain for many why you're having slower sales. Let's see. No Bullsh says, true crime. Do you follow JRL Investigates? If not, you should check it out.
JRL, I watch all the time, and I've seen you in the chats.
See, she keeps notes.
I have seen you.
Tommy says, yes, Jimmy D, her item specific hack will change your life. I'm doing it on every item. Now, let me ask you, Tommy, what are you doing differently with that information? I know some people are saying, okay, character, you know how almost every listing has boy in it. I don't know why, but that's, people just put boy in there. What are you putting in there as a value? Let's say you have your pair of Hokas you're trying to sell. What, as an example, would you use in that spot? Ren Gregory says, I filed my 1099 plus all the other forms last year as required by my state. I got a letter saying I actually made less and I need to pay the difference. Blink, blink. Yep. You will get, if your amounts are different than what is reported by eBay, then they'll take a closer look at that for sure. Aretha Franklin says, Tommy, I wasn't convinced until Rockstar told me, and now I'm editing the next 2 weeks. Yep.
If Tommy says it works,
I'm not sure if he's being facetious
I
or not,
know.
which is why I asked the follow-up question.
Uh-huh.
I'm a firm believer, though, guys, and I'm being serious with this, that the data is very important, more so than it used to be.
He puts all his keywords in Chinese.
There you go. Let's see. Brandy says, I liked yesterday's video. I think it was great and positive. Well, thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. Ed says, I have an LLC. I'm still taxed as a sole proprietor. So just a pass-through entity unless you set it up as a corporation. Okay. So it's something I'll have to learn once I go that. Tommy says, S-Corp will save you a ton in tax liability. Seriously, if over 100K, it's probably a no-brainer to switch to S-Corp. Well, I have over 100K in sales, but that doesn't mean I'm necessarily making that in profit. So I think we're on pace for like 150, 160 in sales. And then after it's all said and done, I'm going to be closer to 100K this year because I have some other things kind of going on behind the scenes, not YouTube or eBay related, for sales that we've been doing. And it's been making pretty nice little chunk of change there. So No Bullshit says, I agree with you regarding to the people who are criticizing you for the lack of content. We all know you're not here to cheat people for views. There's ways to do it. There's ways to get views on here. You see all kinds of channels that will come out with a video that'll put up 20, 30, 40, 50,000 views. I mean, that's nice and all, but if you start chasing the views, your content's going to change.
Yeah. And you, I mean, we would never change. Like, we are who we have been for the last, for him, almost 50 years.
Yeah.
Just because we're in front of a camera, or especially him, for someone to call them what they did really got under my skin, because it is in no way, shape, or form something that is even relevant to him. And so it really bothered me, because it's not his, obviously that person doesn't watch his full videos. Like I told him, they watch for 3 minutes maybe, and they don't get what they want out of it, or they took what they wanted and they left. They don't see the whole video. They don't see the whole character of who he really is.
Yeah.
And for someone to call him that, it makes,
I think
they don't know him.
I think what's going on is that a lot of times I'll make a video and it's a certain topic, and I'll start the video and I'll say, yeah, guys, I'm putting up a shelf here, and this is going on with my business, right? So people are thinking, well, this guy won't get to the topic at hand. He's just going to talk about himself like some narcissistic kind of guy, and then they move on. But I think there's a lot of people who are watching these videos kind of are interested to know what I have going on. And in fact, this channel has kind of been about my experience, what I'm dealing with. I can't report your experience because I don't know your experience. I don't know all the ins and outs of what you deal with. And I can only report to you what I'm dealing with. Right. So that can come off as being narcissistic because I'm always talking about me. And
well, that's the only thing that we have that's going for us on a constant basis.
Yeah.
Is us, we, this.
There's a certain guy watching.
Woo!
Hey Pete, how you doing? This guy, I mean,
I was just watching him this morning.
Yeah, I love the way he's changed his content. He's really added a lot of more content, and I just love it.
Oh, and he got a new pillow maker. The bubble.
I need to see that. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it for me.
Okay.
Mike says, key to LLC is to set up payroll through a trusted account. I did with my carpet cleaning business years ago. Paying yourself a salary is where you save money in taxes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that same thing before.
Thomas says, I combined Sarah Styles, no promoted listings back with Rachel's item specifics, hack and sales are to the moon. See, you just can't tell with Tommy. Is he being serious or not? Urethra says, I tried to start a carpet cleaning business, but I kept getting called a perv, so I just sell Gloria Vanderbilt. Wow. Awesome. And then Guy Drew says, here's a link to the new podcast, everyone. And I guess.
Oh, Patricia.
Patricia
says, hold on. Patricia says, isn't Jenna part of the business too?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will copy and put in the actual. I'm putting in the actual link for the podcast because it doesn't come off as a clickable link. I don't think.
Actual
link.
weird.
B says, did I miss the information on the $600 1099 fight continues? Well, B, it's probably need to go to the beginning because I actually read through an article, but there's a link in the down below that'll take you to that page. So you can kind of read it. And if you want to sign the petition that eBay has set up for Congress to try to do something different to change it. And I think it's probably a fair thing. If they came out with, say, if you made over $2,000, that would be a lot better for the person who's just honestly just trying to move a few things. And now they have to deal with a tax burden, or trying to do extra on their taxes just to prove they didn't make any money, on that item or profit on that item. Mike Gertis says it's all how you present your business. I guess if you look like a perv, you're out of luck. Tommy says I'm waiting for a Craigslist hunter to release his secret eBay item specific algorithm, free shipping, promoted listing, best offer hack. And those videos are going to get a lot of views, so it is what it is. I don't know how well they work. I know that she put an example of some off word and it worked. Now my thing is, how many people are going to take that video and say, I'm going to start throwing all kinds of other brands. I got a pair of these, I got a pair of these Reeboks, and I'm going to put, Jordan in the, instead of the character being a boy, I'm going to put Jordan, right? Will that, now someone's looking for Jordans, will your Reeboks show up in that search? Now, if they're truly looking for Jordans, I think all that's doing, because they're not going to settle for Reebok, all that's going to do is add more impressions, and your sell-through rate's going to fall because that person's not going to click on your item to buy it. At least I don't think so. Let's see. Sakonix Emma Stein says, is it true that one day Adams will build telescopes to see man found on eBay? I don't know where these comments are coming from. Jerry says, Jenna, that is so funny about Joe hearing things.
John.
It says Joe.
No.
Hearing things I need to laugh today. Yeah, I do sometimes.
He does hear some things, but sometimes he's right and sometimes
and so
he's not.
This.
And yes, you did hear something. It was the Amazon delivery.
See, and I thought, because I knew that this person shipped the paper tape machine. They shipped it by U.S. mail, and the mailman is supposed to pick up an item.
But if we had it last night,
it says it's out for delivery on the tracking.
How?
I didn't buy it last night. I bought it the night before. They shipped it yesterday, and it's out for delivery today. Because they're in Vegas. They wanted to meet up with me and risk their seller protection.
Story, but
yeah, so it should be here today when they come. But I thought they were just dropping it off, and if they just dropped it off, that means they weren't picking up our mail, and it could be. Speaking
of, the mailman has not come yet.
Right. Tommy says, doesn't matter how many items you list ever. Number of listings is the most irrelevant statistic ever. Items you list, the quality of listing, and account health is all that matters.
100%. We need to put that on a banner.
Well, we can put it on the podcast tomorrow. I'll edit the podcast so that it's on there. But tune in tomorrow. You're going to see a lot of what Tommy's saying. Doing my thing. Thoughts on the traffic reports. I'm seeing daily numbers being revised downward after a day or two. It's curious. My thoughts on the traffic reports is I'm not 100% convinced that they're accurate. Remember, in the summer, they changed dramatically. We had a huge spike in page views and a loss of impressions. Well, what's that about? Either these impressions happened or they didn't. Either the page views happened or they didn't. Why are they changing all of a sudden? And so I'm just not convinced. So maybe it's something going on in the background, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Urethra says, when your nurse cannot spare a square. And I'm not sure what that was about either. The Tommy Bernard podcast says traffic report means nothing, zero correlation to sales. You'll never get a deposit from traffic. Yes. And every Wednesday when I get my money from my weekly deposit, I am not looking for extra listings that I can use. eBay does not give you listings. They simply give you one thing, and that's how you should keep score, and that's money. Roman says Todd knows that no matter what, his silver will still sell, and he won't complain. Todd doesn't complain at all that I've seen. Doing my thing says I opt out of eBay International for a few days, and domestic sales drop. Opted back in after a few days and back to normal. 99% of my sales are U.S. domestic. It was an interesting experiment. Yeah, and again, I sell a lot larger things. So who in Ethiopia is going to want a heavy toilet seat? Yeah, it's international. Who's going to want a heavy toilet seat that's going to cost them more than what they can maybe build themselves? I don't know. Urethra says, remember check guarantee cards? I remember Hot Topic turning me down for not having one in the 90s. Who doesn't miss standing behind that guy or gal in line at the grocery store and they're writing a check? I used to hate that. No one designs the trolls are a necessity because without them, funny comments, memes, jokes would not be non-existent. Trolls makes life a bit more fun to deal with. Thank you, Roman. Knew there was something there to it.
Yeah.
Scream NRC says all sellers need to check their accounts now. eBay just ripped in my account automatically, approved, refunded, and let the buyer keep an item worth over $260. Said it was an error. So now, if they are saying it was an error, they need to make you whole.
Yeah.
Many times I see someone upset at eBay because the buyer got a refund and got to keep the item, and it turned out they just didn't act in time. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they weren't as in tune with their account to see the notification from eBay saying that you need to process this return, and they just don't do it, and it times out. Then the buyer will get to keep the item and their money back. But if they're saying it's an error, you need to get on the horn with somebody. Now, the little trick that I use is to simply go on to help and contact, find a little chat robot that's on there, put it in there to call me or have someone call me. And when someone calls you, let them know that you have some questions about the eBay authentication process, that you're thinking about listing some shoes and you have some questions. They'll put you over to a US rep, and then that person, I think you can have at least a starting conversation about how to get that taken care of. Mm-hmm. And it seems like they have a little bit more power than the reps in the Philippines. Said it's an automatic return, accept and refund setting. I'd have to get someone on the phone for that one. Mm-hmm. I'm doing my thing. Says I pre-bag all items. This keeps the item in the condition as photographed. Works for me, and that's what we do for the most part for clothing. We'll put them in like these clear polys that I have over here, and like for shoes, we'll use the little cellophane wrap. We'll wrap the shoes together so that you can put them like in a tub and they're not flinging all over the place. They're together. Scream NRC says I've not changed my returns policy for 11 years. This is a new setting eBay added, so maybe I'll have to check that. But certainly, if it's an automated process that was on eBay's side that you had no involvement in, then they need to make it right. Yeah. It's under your return policy settings under your account information, and the only notification they got was buyer has been refunded, no questions asked. Wow. So I'm gonna have to look at that. Hustle and Grow says, I'm not sure why people are so worried about the $600 reporting. Just claim more expenses, track mileage or something. It's not hard to offset that income if you have to. And I think what the biggest thing is that some people have a concern about is like, this is an item that I, didn't make any money off of. I paid $1,000 and I sold it for $700. And now I have to go through the extra steps to prove on my tax form, because eBay is expecting me to report this money on my taxes because they received a 1099K. So I have to go through the process of putting that on my taxes now. And it's just an extra, pain now they have to go through when they didn't make a cent at all, and they shouldn't have had to report it anyway. Let's see. PG says Posh charges for priority, so send it in a box. Yes. I
know. He tells me that every single time.
Yeah. Why use up our supplies when there's no need to? That's my whole thing. Jimmy D says, what's your opinion on choosing ground advantage shipping instead of priority mail? You think the extra day or two shipping could cause you to lose sales? Not really so much. A lot of people put 2 to 3 days handling anyway. I do same day. Some people do 1 day. So that 1 day offset is not that big of a difference. I think more people are cost or price sensitive. So I charge shipping on the back end. So that extra few bucks they don't have to pay, I think is more attractive to them than getting it a day later. And in some cases it's not. They give a range. So they may say priority mails could arrive a day sooner, but both are going to arrive by the 20th, right? And I think they look at that range and say, okay, well, I need it by the 20th, and both options are fine, and they're not going to care. Let's see. Patricia says, Jimmy, I buy on eBay a lot, and if sellers want to charge priority for small, lightweight items, I pass. A lot of people are price sensitive, and they don't want to spend a lot of money on shipping. Brandy says, I think John is spot on. I haven't had a major issue selling like others this past year. I've always filled in as many as possible item specifics. You guys that have been with the channel for a while know that I used to actually worry about the, eBay gives you that reminder, like you have some items that still have item specifics that aren't filled in. Mm-hmm. And I would be like, well, they're reminding me for some reason. Why is that? So now that was like a couple of years ago. Now, is it possible that eBay was just trying to get us in the mindset that we need to start filling in these item specifics? And that's why it was important enough for them to put a reminder on there. I'm sure there's lots of things that eBay could remind us on. Why does it have to be, filling in our recommended item specifics? Maybe they're just trying to get you into a better habit of doing that. I'm just that way. I don't like taking shortcuts. So if I can find a value, and lately before a lot of this stuff has been coming out, I've been trying to focus on, well, why is eBay telling us these item specifics are trending? Why is eBay telling us that 1.5 million people searched for this item or this item specific? There's got to be a reason for it, right? So I think they want you to fill in those item specifics. Tommy says, I think the item specifics hack, if used correctly with no promoted listings in combination, will transform your eBay international sales. I put all keywords in Chinese at the bottom. Okay, I understand where you're coming from now. Randall says, when I ship my 2x2 carded coins, I wrap the coin in plastic wrap and tape it into the bubble wrap on the inside of padded envelope. I've received a lot of compliments.
Yes.
People appreciate, especially if it's a collectible thing, people appreciate the fact that you're taking the condition of it seriously. Scream NRC says, I have no voice in this, can only warn people. Account settings, seller preferences, return preference. If they're clicked okay, it will automatically fund and buyer keeps item. I'll have to look at it. That's not going to get me to look here. Henri Squaw says, I watched GRL since that prisoner escape. I'm a big
Iked Mel fan.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's another crime show.
I don't have time to do that kind of stuff.
I don't watch him as much as I watch the others.
Tommy says, I do not add anything that's not an absolute attribute to the item. Best match is called best match for a reason. Yes. Landshark Picker says, put out good quality content and the views take care of themselves. Just like listing quality and demand items on eBay. Yes. I think eBay and YouTube are very, very similar when it comes to fulfilling what either a buyer is looking for, or the algorithm in this case, and what YouTube is looking for in a video. You get a lot of views and retention. They tend to promote more of your items, that type of thing. Jimmy D wants to know, does NA and item specifics hurt you? I don't necessarily know about that. It's not valid data, and eBay has actually come out and said in the past, don't bother filling that in, because I was thinking a couple of years ago, it's not going to disappear from my my to-do list, the overview screen, that I need to fill these things in unless I put something there, and I need to put NA. I don't think it hurts you. I just think it's just not worth the time. Just leave it blank. And as No One Design says, leave it blank. How many people search for NA? Which I think is where the Rachel's hack comes in. Instead of putting an A, you can put an attribute of the shoe, that someone would actually type in. I'm just wondering how that would play out, because you wouldn't want a keyword spam there. Mm-hmm. Someone is expecting Louis Vuitton and you show them Pro-Wings. I don't think that works. Eureka Franklin says, Craigslist Hunter is a stud. Yes, he is. He's a very good man. And, the fact that he spent like 30 minutes just chatting with me was just awesome.
It was more than that.
It was a long time. But you know what? For you, it was a long time. For me, when you're enjoying conversation, it just goes really fast. Tommy Bernard says, the day I follow a YouTuber's advice that spends more time making videos than running their own actual business is the day I shut it all down.
Men.
When I wake up in the morning, it isn't like, oh, I need to spend my time making YouTube. It's like I need to work, get my eBay stuff going.
Yeah.
And some days I had an intention on making time to make a video, and I just don't get to it. YouTube is secondary.
Whenever John's making a video, it's always very late at night. It's the last thing he does in the day. YouTube is never a priority for him. He might get an idea in the morning, but he does not act on it until at night.
Well, the priority for me is the lives, because it's a set time.
Yeah.
And it's something that I enjoy doing. I mean, like right now, we're an hour and 55 into this thing,
and
probably,
the mailman has
you know what? To me, I'm just going to chalk this thing up. I'm not going to go to the post office for one item. We have one item that was U.S. mail, so it's going to have to be a late. It'll go out tomorrow. I hate to say that, but I'm not going through the steps to do that. It's just ridiculous. And chances are they can show up late anyway because they have a package they're going to deliver. Southern Talk says also need to know that the recommended specifics does not show up in your computer, but it does show up on the mobile. I know it shows up. See, there it is. So the recommended specifics, I don't know about the mobile because I don't do a lot of the item specifics on the mobile. I do a draft. So like before I even get the item, I'm doing a draft in the computer. So I have my draft made up with my item specifics. I get it, add the photos, put the condition of the item and all the weighting and all that, and then I list it. That's kind of how I do it. T-Bag says if you take it all in salary, you pay payroll taxes as a business. Taking a smaller salary and then distributions is much smarter. You save the payroll tax, 6.2%. Awesome. Urethra says if the mailman hasn't come, then my husband tends to have a great weekend. I don't know. Go figure. Tommy says, I truly thankful for all the bad YouTube advice. It keeps competition in perpetual failure, spinning wheels. We need National Bad Advice Day for all these folks. And wow, I'm thinking I'm catching up here. We're getting kind of close to the 2-hour mark, but I want to keep going here because I want to open up this box if it's here to see if it's trashed or if I made a good purchase. Patricia says, how can I prove what I paid for something 20 years ago, whether purchased, used at a flea market or new? How to prove it was a loss, no profit? And really, you don't have any proof. You're just going to have to maybe hope they take your word for it. How do you prove that? Urethra says, I've been fed by EBT, blessed to be off it, but thankfully to have had it 100% to do my part, pay it back. I still love your jokes, Roman. Now, we got this thing here I do not like.
Well, first of all, the tape's falling off.
Look at this thing. This is what it came in, guys. You like that? And this was shipped from the same town. It wasn't like, it looks like this thing came from East Africa or something. Look, the tape. They put 2 pieces of tape here. This is great. This gives me no hope.
I told you this guy was.
And you know what? The guy put in his listing, it's a used item, which I accepted, right? This is a $1,200 device that I got for
it's a different address. It says it's from Wisconsin.
Really? Well, no, right here it says.
I know, but I'm saying
this person's in Henderson.
He didn't even take the time to take
so
the address.
He put in their listing, no returns. But knowing better, I still bought it because I know there's no such thing as no returns. I don't know where that came from. All right, so this thing is already in parts, and it wasn't like this on his listing. Look at that.
Oh my.
Wow. This is a special machine. Now, of course, I'm going to try to make this work, but should I have to? There's like here.
I mean, I guess that's what you get when you.
Here, hold this. That's the water tank. This is you put water in it and it moistens the tape. Moistens the tape. Now he did advertise that it came with tape in the title. Oh God, it didn't sound good. This is a heavy machine. Yeah, he had some tape in it, but I don't think.
Here's the board.
I mean, I got pieces, guys. We're going to have to try this out. This is why I'm going to have to contact Beard and find out how his is set up because there's no manual for this.
Well, maybe there is because there's a bunch of stuff in the bottom.
Look at this. This is what they packed it with. This is what they packed it with. There's probably half the
user
bubble,
manual.
and the thing wasn't wrapped. But why is this? Why is this? This is the Better Pack 555 ES, and why am I holding pieces of it? I don't know. Excuse me.
Take a picture.
Well, I'll do that after we're done here. But what do you guys think? Comment in the chat. I want to hear what you guys think of what I just bought. Hopefully it works. That's all that matters. Yeah. Let's see. Thomas says, yes, but that's for the whole category. So let's say my categories of high-end shoes, clothing, adding an item specific that says trending for a brand that has no search volume won't help. Okay. Pete is the most genuine person in reselling, hands down.
Yes, he
I
is.
can second that.
I will third that.
Yeah. And let's see. Urethra says, I see asbestos. Noah Design said meatball. No, this was an expected delivery.
We knew this one was coming.
And yes, red line Lude 7. How not to ship 101.
Right.
I mean, you don't use bubble mailers to pad something that's in a box. It's like I'm gonna find whatever I can lying around.
I mean, there's weeds on it, dust.
There's hair.
Don't say hair.
I saw a little curly thing.
God.
Sylvia says, take a picture. And Kelly says, if I shipped more boxes, I'd pick up one of those. Sucks. The packing is subpar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope the machine itself works.
You know, this is a new seller, and I was kind of wondering if this was going to happen, but we'll see. Biff says, waiting for the diapers. No One Design says, oh, it's a wet tape dispenser.
Yes.
It wasn't wet though, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It's the one. It's the paper tape dispenser that she's been wanting for the longest time. Let's see. Maya says, hey, I mean, once eBay, I received a pair of boots and a baby diaper box. Credit for not being an adult diaper box, I guess. Yeah. And then Brandon says, I hope you got a deal. I ship a lot of large items. We overdo it. We feel like it's part of the price.
Yes.
I literally paid, I think, $54 in shipping.
And this guy is in our same
And I said,
town.
I'm wondering why it costs so much because I can ship the same item to Florida for half of that.
Yeah.
Sarah says, I bought 5 items from eBay because I had a gift card. Out of all, one item was described and pictured. Doing my thing says, shipping by a rookie eBayer, your item arrived in nightmare condition. Not how a store operator should be conducting business, right?
I knew it was questionable from the get-go. I kept saying, where is this guy from? Where is this guy from? Because the messages alone from this guy was, it was a big red flag.
I think it was a glitch because every message he sent me, it came across 3 times. Every message. And I'm like, why is this guy sending me 3 messages of the same thing? And it was like in the middle of the night going on back and forth and, wanting to know, if I'm in Vegas. I'm like, well, yeah, my label says I'm in Vegas. And he said, oh, if I'd have known that, I would have just offered it to, drop it off or whatever. And I guess save the money out of pocket or whatever. Save the $54 for himself. But I'm gonna have to have a conversation with this guy if it doesn't work. We're gonna end up opening a return because it was described as used and it powers on, and it had like a description of the device, but nothing that stated that it didn't work or it was parts or repair or anything like that. Yeah. Sandy in the Sticks says, cool machine. Hope it will work for you once you put it back together. Randall says, being a new seller is no excuse. I learned how to package my coins by studying how items were sent to me. Yeah.
Right. And hello, Randall.
No One Design says, was his name Tony 2 times? Because he says everything 2 times. No, he said it 3 times.
3 times.
Pink says, Mike from Flippin' Goodies uses a wet paper tape dispenser in case you need info on using it. Beard uses the same, Bearded Picker uses the same machine. So that's what kind of put me on the radar to buy it. But I wasn't going to pay $1,200 new. If this does the basics, then we're fine.
If it does the job, then I'm okay. But we definitely will be talking to the seller.
Urethra Franklin, hard no pass on meetups. Yes, I agree with that. Maya says, if anything, I overpack my items as new seller. I ended up overcharging for shipping as a result. Yeah. this device, if I was to have sold it, I would have wrapped the device in about 5 to 10 layers of bubble wrap and make it into a pillow and then put it in the box. And then any extra space or room for it to move around, I would put more bubble wrap so that it's not good for your item to be moving inside of a box.
Another reason why we are partners with American Bubble Boy, because we go through a lot of bubbles.
There you go. There's your links down below as well. But guys, we're at the end of the show, and I want to thank you guys for being here with us. The whole 1099 thing, regardless of what side of the equation you are on, it's something that I think is not properly been legislated. We'll just say that. I think that the number of $600 is a little low because there are going to be people who just honestly want to sell something that's been sitting around their house, and they're not going to be prepared to see, a 1099 show up in their mail come January, February. And I think they need to make something that is designed towards resellers. And but whether or not you get a 1099, you should be, if you're reselling, making money, you should be reporting your profits. So comment down below. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this. But figuring out your taxes, if you don't know how to do it, you should get a CPA. But figuring all that out, just another example of how flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, and don't forget,
tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern a.m. tomorrow morning for the eBay Power Hour podcast. Links down below, and we'll hope to see you guys there.
Have a great one, guys. We love you.
Take care, everyone.